TIU men's soccer returns this week with the start of training camp. Coming off their first 10-win season since head coach Patrick Gilliam took over in 2009, NCAA regional appearance. Coach, what are some expectations you have for the men's soccer squad going into this year now?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things when you're coming off of a season like last year, a season where you didn't just win 10 games, but you had kind of, if you're thinking about pushing a ball up a mountain or up a hill and trying to get it to kind of get over the top and start to roll, that's kind of what last season was. It was a reward for, I think, the perseverance of some of our 2, 3, 4-year guys and kind of getting that momentum ball rolling finally. So again, it sounds a little like coach speak, but it's true. The next step is to then develop consistency. You don't want to be a one-year flash in the pan. You don't want to be like 2015, what a great season that was. Because in actuality, I told the boys, we didn't make the CCAC playoffs, fell just short with only 8 teams out of 13 making it. We didn't win that regional game. We have some games that are, if we look back over that schedule, that we're like, we'd love back or we'd love another chance at. And so it's hard to say when you make the steps those guys made last year, we didn't accomplish anything. But I'm like, when you think about probably what your goals are and some of the things you'd like to see and being a part of CCAC conference playoff time in November and that, we're not there yet. So there's certainly enough carrot left kind of to go after that. Resting on our laurels and resting on last year is not something that we want to do. And I think that's what's been great, is that I don't just think the coaches feel that way. I think the players themselves would say last year developed positive momentum. Great thing to have in a program, much better than going the other direction. But we're not done, and we would say there's much more to accomplish. And when your players feel that way as much as the coaches, then I think you're in a good spot.
The team returns their top scorer, Zach Reggett, for his senior year. But then a lot of guys from last year's squad have moved on now. So what are your expectations, I guess, for Zach as far as going into his senior year? And then who are some guys, maybe either newcomers this year or maybe guys who came off the bench a lot last year that you're expecting big things out of?
Right. I think that I thought that Zach had a very special season last year. I'm not one. Honors are honors, and they're kind of sometimes fickle and voted on by, you don't vote for your own players, and so they're voted on by outsiders who don't see the person every day. But I thought it was a real shame that, Zach received a number of honors, but in my mind he was a first-team all-conference player in the conference, and we've had coaches tell us that, and I just thought he was a dominant player. There were times where he wasn't just Trinity's best player on the field, but he was one or two of the best players on the field for either team. And I just think when you do that consistently over a conference season, that should get noticed and recognized. And it felt like maybe that didn't happen, but I was able to really encourage him that I, as his coach, thought that. And at the end of the day, he has to look in the mirror and just know that he's given everything. And I think he had a very special season last year, statistically, but also just an impact on the team. And I think he's learned to lead. He leads kind of innately and naturally by his talent level. But I've seen in the last year or two him really grow in other aspects of his leadership as well. Zach's a player who, while he can get it done himself, he can be just as dangerous with giving the ball up to other people and letting them do it. So I think someone like Francesco De Felice, Francesco's suffered some injuries early last year, but as he kind of settled in and by playoff time, by the time of the NCCAA regionals, he can be a very devastating player and has grown a lot and has pace and skill. TJ Cake in the midfield, really, really skillful, crafty midfielder. A lot of the things we saw in Zach as a young player, we see in TJ. Different kind of player, but somebody I think that could be called upon greatly. I think our back line, a number of our defensive players, whether they're back line, defensive mid, or back, so we have at least the backbone or a portion of what was there last year, because we were much better defensively last year too, and so that returns as well. But I think you said it well, Greg. It's a season of opportunity, for our players. We've told them, much like I told the ladies, I can't coach, and we'll never try to coach who's not here. I'm going to coach who's here, and you know, you don't coach who's graduated or who's moved on. You coach the individuals that are here, and you know, because that's your group to work with. An incoming transfer, Nate Michaelis. His brother Josh was a captain here and played here. Nate came to us as a transfer, and we're very excited about him. His fit within the program, just personally who he is, but also just what he brings skill-wise, and that he's going to saw a fair amount of time last year at his former college as a freshman, and we're excited about what he'll bring to the attack as well.
You talk about the pieces coming back on the defense and kind of the new players on the attack. Is there a certain part of the game that you think is really going to be a calling card for this team, or are there certain parts that you think are really going to be things you have to work on here in the preseason?
Right. I would say that one of the things we'll have to work on in the preseason is the attacking continuity. Soccer is a sport where obviously it's a lot less scripted, and so you can't, you have set plays and such, but in the run of play, it's about players being very comfortable with each other and knowing almost with their eyes closed where this person will be and where that person will be. When you lose people to graduation and such, you and don't have the same group together, you can train defensive continuity pretty quickly. We call it shape, you know, and it's about being off the shoulder of players and covering for them and so on. But offensive continuity is about creativity, and it's dynamic, and so really the best way to develop offensive continuity is to play together a lot. And so here we sit in the early days of training camp with some good pieces of the puzzle who haven't played together very much. So it would seem to me the attacking continuity and creativity is going to be the area where we're going to need some time, just because of the new pieces and because of who's left and is no longer with us. Defensively, we probably return a little bit more. We lost a center back, an all-regional center back, and Zach Miller, and so there's some holes there, but there's a lot of that backline back, and backline continuity comes quicker than attacking continuity. So it would seem to me that on the attacking side is where we'll need a little bit of time.
Trojans get started with their first game in about 3 weeks, Saturday, August 27th at Concordia. Home openers Thursday, September 1st against Bluefield, Virginia. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Greg.